Okay, so Mandela part, whatever, I don't know, 13, 14, I've lost track, I've lost count. But I want to get you to focus, okay? When I ask you to do something and you just blab off whatever you want, I'm not going to be posting your comment. If I'm asking for something specific and you're answering whatever you want to or doing whatever you want to in your comment, it's not relevant to the video. So it's definitely not going to be published under this video. Under other videos I might, depends on the content of what you're saying. But under this video, like the other one that I published before, this is a challenge. That means I want to hear what you think about this. I don't want you to come try to cry on my shoulder. I don't want people crying on my shoulder. Just go away. Because I'm not that kind of person where I want to coddle you and say, oh, it's okay. No, I'm the kind of guy I'm going to say, hey, pull yourself up, pull yourself together. Let's get going. We got a job to do, you know? So don't come to me crying on my shoulder. I'm not going to let you do that. I'm going to push you away, all right? But there's a challenge here, and step up to it. Most of you are men anyway, supposedly. But you're not acting like it, you know? Come take the challenge. Think about it. 2 questions, only 2 questions, and they're both very similar, but they're different. So the first question is, I'm taking you at your word, right? So you've got this memory. I'm trusting that you're not lying to me about it, right? You've got this memory that is different from what you see in reality, okay? And you're convinced that your memory was reality and that something must have changed in the world, okay? That's it. That's the Mandela effect. That's in a nutshell, the Mandela effect. Whatever you think the cause of it is, that's something different. I'm just explaining the experience. I know what you're talking about. I know. It's been around forever. It's part of human nature. It's part of human life and existence. That's all it is, all right? But I'm not trying to explain it. I'm just saying it's been around forever. Someone proved it with the Lone Ranger, hi-yo. Oh, I'm sorry, hi-ho. Because in the newspaper articles back then, they equally posted both of them. And even from the same news agency, they posted both of them. They would switch back and forth. You know, they couldn't decide on what it was that he was saying. To me, it sounds like hi-yo. Hi-yo, silver, away. But some heard hi-ho, and I think they heard that because it sounds more normal. What is hi-yo? What is yo? Back then, they didn't have yo, like hey. They didn't use it that way. But hi-ho is something that was used for like riding horses. So I understand why they filled that in. And I think that he was saying it because it was easier to say. It was more musical. Hi-yo, hi-yo, you know. Whereas hi-ho, it's harder and doesn't flow so well. But that's my take on it, okay? Whatever. It's been around forever. Here's the question. Here it is. Taking you seriously. I'm trusting that you're telling the truth, and I'm just treating it like that. So here you go. You've got this memory that you think is reality. You've got reality that you think has changed. How do you know that this in your memory isn't the memory of another reality that had changed before it, and that this isn't the 3rd or 4th time that you've been through this, and that the real reality you don't even remember? How do you know? You understand what I'm saying? I'm saying that, all right, you think that something's changed. How do you know that it hadn't changed before and what you're remembering is one of those changes? And you've completely forgotten that it had changed before the thing that you're remembering. So you're remembering, maybe, all right, here's reality. It changes once. That's the first iteration. This is the 2nd iteration. This first iteration, that was created. Then it changes, 2nd iteration, all right? And then 3rd iteration, and we're in the 3rd iteration, and you're remembering the 2nd iteration, but you completely forgot the 1st iteration. How do you know that didn't happen? Or maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're on 6. And you've forgotten all of those first 5 and only remember, or first 4, and you remember only the 5th one. Or maybe you forgot the 5th one and you're remembering maybe the 4th one. and there's one in between that you forgot. How do you know? Maybe it was the bear shall lie down with the lamb in the fifth one. And you're remembering the lion and the lamb. And this is the bear and the lamb, and then now it's a wolf and the lamb. Maybe it was a leopard and the lamb before that. Maybe the original one was the child and the lamb shall lie down together. How do you know? No, I'm serious. I'm not trying to fabricate something to trick you. I'm asking you seriously, how do you know that that didn't happen? How do you know that your memory isn't one of these iterations that was a change from the original? I'm not saying that what we're in isn't an iteration. I'm saying, all right, let's assume that it is. But how do you know that your memory is the original? How do you know that it's not one of the iterations before this one, but after the original? Question number one. If I don't see an answer to this, or the next question I ask, then your comment won't be published under this video. So stay to that. I don't want to hear Kit Kat. I don't want to hear all this crazy stuff. Leave that for another video, okay? Not this one. I don't want to hear, a catalog of the things you experienced. And don't tack anything on. If you answer the two questions and you start tacking other things on, forget it. It's not getting published. I don't want extra stuff. I don't want to hear about how your grandma was your grandpa and now she's your grandma and it was a change in the Mandela effect or something. Stop it, okay? I don't want to hear all that stuff. Not when I'm asking you to answer two questions that are serious questions. You go off on all this crazy stuff. Okay, so second question. Now let's say that there aren't other iterations. There's only what's in your mind and this. That's it. Okay? How do you know which one is true? How do you know that what in your mind is real and true and not what's in the world? I'm serious. I want you to really think about it. Don't just say, well, because other people, also say they remember it. That doesn't explain it. That doesn't explain it. We have already heard that many times. The number of people who agree with you does not make something true. Now, if you're a Christian, then you can go look up the story of Micah and the 400 prophets. I'll try to put a link to my video on that down below. Yeah, I've got a video on that. Micah was the only one speaking the truth from God, and 400 prophets had a lying spirit put on them. Yep. And they were all saying the same thing. Slight variations, like different versions of it, but the same thing to King Ahab. And Micah was speaking the truth from God. He was the only one. You say, yeah, that's the opposite of what you're doing. You're saying, oh, the 400 prophets and me, we're all speaking the same thing. Must be true. Don't you see? The Bible says that these 400 men had a lying spirit put on them, on their tongues, it says. On their body, a lying spirit was put on all 400 of them. And they all remembered and heard the same thing. The Bible says that what you're describing can be a false spirit that's been put on you. So I want to hear your explanation, especially you Christians. Shame on you. I want to hear your explanation of it. And I expect you to go watch that video. Especially if you're a Christian, go watch that video. And then try to give me an explanation. And don't even think about saying it's based on numbers. All these people have the same memory. And it's two exactly the same, so it must be true. All 400 of these prophets also were very exactly the same, but it wasn't true. They presented it in different ways to King Ahab, but they had exactly the same words coming. And so they said it must be from God. But it wasn't. One of them even rebuked Micah. Yep. Calling him a false prophet. Calling him a false prophet. He was the true prophet from God. And they called him the false prophet when all the 400 were false and had a lying spirit put on them. All right, now you got the challenge. 2 questions. I want to see answers to these, nothing else. I don't want to see anything else in your comment. If you want to respond to the false prophet video, go to that video and respond under that. Okay? If you have a problem with it, or you have some insight, or you agree with it, whatever, respond under that video. This video is exclusively for answers on these two questions and only these two questions. If you add extra material, I will not publish your comment, no matter how good your answers are. And that would be a shame. Because I really want to publish your comments. I really want to publish your comments, but you're making it impossible for me. Follow the rules. May the Lord bless you as you seek Him with all your heart.